Good morning, Mr. DiManio. It's 5:45. It's time to get up.
Good morning, Mrs. Barnes.
Well, the weather's late this morning.
Mrs. Caudley, who keeps stopping up that sink?
Somebody got their flat there.
Good morning, Mr. Greenstade.
Morning. I thought you weren't coming. Go on, Tim. 3 minutes of summary, no difficult words.
Good morning, everybody. It's 6:30 and the BBC Light programme's beginning another day's broadcasting.
Today's newsreader is Peter Donaldson.
The Prime Minister has welcomed last night's step forward in the search for peace in Northern Ireland. The British and Irish governments and most of the parties involved...
Did you hear that, both of you?
No. Well, we're working, actually, don't we?
I know, I saw you working. Narration coming up, followed by...
What? I do like New Labour, don't you?
And later this evening, Patrick Wright introduces Nightwaves, including a review of the Chichester production of Electra, starring Zoe Wanamaker. It's the new version of Sophocles' play by...
I come to Broadcasting House to present Nightwaves about twice a month, and each time I'm mulling over the themes of that evening's programme. This morning, the Greek tragedy Electra, a bloody tale of a house divided, is competing in my mind with the less bloody story of Broadcasting House, the home of BBC Radio for over 60 years. Approached along Regent Street in London's West End, Broadcasting House has a wonderful way of hoving into view from behind All Souls Church, like an unexpected ocean liner.
In London, the big event architecturally of the 20s was the rebuilding of Regent Street, replacing the Regency stucco buildings of John Nash, which people objected to enormously, but Portland stone had become really the material for building in London. And Broadcasting House, standing at the end of that street, is the kind of Portland stone finale to this actually rather dreary sort of parade that was put up.
As headquarters of the BBC, this building also seems to stand out against today's global media circus. With its relief sculptures by Eric Gill and its Latin inscription in the hall, Broadcasting House is the creation of a more paternalistic age, which had no qualms about dedicating it to high and uplifting values like truth, reason, and the public interest.
Say, Stan.
Yes?
The most marvellous thing happened this morning. It's a letter from a listener who is perfectly satisfied with the radio programme.
Good. Really?
Isn't that marvellous?
I'd love his autograph.
The truth is, I don't actually have to come this way. I don't really work in this building. I walk all the way through it to the annex beyond. But I like that entrance hall, and I also quite like these lifts, which were apparently, believe it or not, once the fastest in London.
The first home of the BBC was at Savoy Hill, just off London's Strand.
Hello, control room. This is transmission studio number 3. Signal me when you are ready for testing, please.
It was here in the 1920s, with an expanding future already in sight for the wireless, that John Reith, the BBC's first Director General, and his colleagues laid plans for a new headquarters. The chosen site at Langham Place was previously occupied by a Nash building called Foley House. The architect, a certain Lieutenant Colonel Val Meyer, wasn't actually chosen by the BBC, he came with the site. No great name, Meyer nevertheless came up with an ingenious plan for combining studios and offices in a building that was also defined by the curious shape of its plot.
The intriguing thing about Broadcasting House that it is really two buildings. It's a kind of Jekyll and Hyde. It has that wonderful calm exterior, which the offices are on. The offices face onto the street, whilst in the core of the building, sometimes wrapped with concrete to protect them, are the studios, some of them bomb-proof. So you've got this wonderful mix of technology in the centre, this boiler room, really, of technology.
It's 8:30, time moves on when you've got Barry Took in the studio. Speak about snails. We're a bit late. But anyway, Steve May's here with a sport. Morning, Steve.
Absolutely. Good morning. I'm on the right mic, I think. All eyes are and ears will be on Kevin Keegan. Return to football was the chief executive.
Now, it's not every day that I have the chance to play a piece of music inspired by the building I'm sitting in, Broadcasting House. It's music by George Posford, who wrote a large number of popular scores in the 1930s. And when Broadcasting House was opened in 1932, Posford was inspired to write something of a period piece to match. Here it is, played by the BBC Concert Orchestra. Broadcasting House.
Posford's rhapsody to this building was too lush for the snooty critics who suggested he should stick to dance music. George Orwell, who worked here in the 40s, came up with a less sentimental tribute in his novel, 1984. He took the song of the BBC cleaning ladies and the lingering smell of cabbage in the corridors to build his picture of a totalitarian ministry of truth. The idea that Big Brother works through the state seems rather quaint in this age of Bill Gates and Rupert Murdoch.
I'm actually now leaving Broadcasting House, even though I haven't yet arrived at work. Behind me is the old original building with the curves and the curious shapes and the rooms that are more like nooks and crannies than ordinary offices. Ahead, the additions, the land of the rectangle and the square. So what we know about Frank McGuinness is that he's a medievalist as well as...
While the bulk of radio output is now produced in the annexes and additions that have sprung up around Broadcasting House, the original studios are far from silent.
Mike. Yes. Listen, you can't say Kevin comes to the capital because Edinburgh's the capital of Scotland. I know you want it to rhyme, but it'll piss Scots off.
Clustered in this central tower of silence, the studios were cut off from natural light and air as well as noise. So Broadcasting House became the first building in England to include air conditioning.
Kevin comes to London, but can he get Fulham a place in the Premiership? Thousands could die as smog suffocates cities in Indonesia.
Basement. After you. Thank you. So here we are. These are the bowels of the building, I guess.
Yeah, this is the sub-basement. You're 3 floors below ground level now.
Meanwhile, what this really is all about is air conditioning, I guess.
Air conditioning in 1932 is a relatively new art, and this is one of the early examples of it. Right. Still running after all that time.
So these are the original plans of Valmire. This is the basement area.
Basement level. The design was very elegant. It takes great advantage of the shape of the site and wraps the offices and the relatively quiet areas round outside the studios that you wanted to keep very quiet.
Here are the studio calls flashing up on the indicator. Through soundproof doors and doors and doors again, you come to an inside core of the building, isolated from all the rest, where the makers of the noises practice to make them good noises.
Whatever the technical innovations, it was the design and look of the interiors of Broadcasting House that really got people excited. It's hard to believe this nowadays, since very little of the BBC's rare plunge into modernism actually survives.
OK, darling?
Yes, I dare say you're right.
So you agree that this stain upon the blood is... the blade is...
Just put it away, will you? Useless. Useless.
It was a lovely rehearsal.
This may be a typical studio today,
Slightly off mic, darling.
but this is how they looked when the building first opened.
Okay. How's this?
The original studios were works of art in their own right, thanks to a team of young designers who were apparently encouraged to experiment with modern materials and styles. They were led by Raymond McGrath, an Australian who got the commission with only one rather eccentric job to his name.
McGrath kind of burst like a firework on the British architectural scene a year or two before with an extraordinary project in Cambridge, a house called Fenella, where he did the interiors for a don called Mansfield Forbes. And thousands of people went to see this house. It was a complete sensation.
I reckon Raymond McGrath was quite a lucky man, really. Think of it, this young Australian designer was in his 20s when he came up to Cambridge, ostensibly to write a thesis on entertainment architecture. But really, he was brought here by his patron, a man called Mansfield Forbes, who wanted him to decorate this house. An old Victorian, rather dim interior originally, which was suddenly turned into this remarkable Aladdin's cave.
Fenella may have become a favourite location for bohemian parties, but it was also a more serious project, designed to prove that modern materials could be used in a spirit of fun and gaiety. Cambridge connections being what they were, it was only a short step that took McGrath from Fenella to what must have been the most coveted design job in England as decoration consultant at Broadcasting House.
This is the Architectural Review's special number, and they devoted a huge amount of space to what was called the New Tower of London by the editor. And we've got a very good record of what the building looked like. The exterior doesn't get a lot of discussion. What really comes over is the interiors. So you start off with the Vaudeville studio by Raymond McGrath here.
This is the original Vaudeville Theatre. The decor on the walls is not the original, that's 1960s as well.
So this was a big theatre, which would seat hundreds of people?
It seated, I think, about 100 people.
Undeterred by the fact that the radio audience could not see into the studios, McGrath and his team set out to create interiors suitable to the different kinds of programme that will be made in them.
It wants a lot more pep here, Mr. Sharman.
I think it certainly wants something. Here, it's very bright now. Lift it right up.
I think this is a bit...
So the Vaudeville studio had the look of a jazz-age nightclub, appropriate for acts like The Dancing Daughters.
You know, something like that.
Religious broadcasts would emanate from a mock chapel with an altar over which a cross could be projected electronically. This studio might even have been consecrated were it not for the fear that everything beneath it, including the concert hall, would thereby have been consecrated too. In May 1932, BBC staff moved reluctantly from Savoy Hill to their new building, considered to be on the wrong side of Oxford Street. With Gill's Prospero and Ariel not yet in place, Broadcasting House went into action.
National programme from London. Now you're going to hear the first performance of the new BBC Dance Orchestra, directed by Henry Hall. It's just the time for dancing. Tomorrow is today.
This is Admiral Carpendale's address to the staff at the meeting on May the 3rd, 1932, in the concert hall. I want you to realise from the start how this building lies, i.e. north and south, with Portland Place to the west and Langham Street to the east. If it amuses you to look upon it as a ship, as it has been described in the press, the stern of the ship is towards the entrance hall.
I still find it quite thrilling to walk into Broadcasting House. You know, this great sort of silent, great ship beached on Regent Street.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's crow looking at.
It is a great place, and I don't think you can come in here without feeling that it puts obligations on you.
Yes.
Radio 4, it's 5 to 2, and time for the shipping forecast issued by the Meteorological Office. Rising slowly. Sandetti light vessel automatic, northeast 2, 2 miles, 1,023 steady. Greenwich light vessel automatic, southeast by east 2, 2 miles, 1,023 falling slowly. Jersey, south.
12 floors, 350 offices, 700 people. In this big house, a voice built.
Morning. Bag of complaints for you.
That the lot?
No, 5 more to come.
2,000 of you write every day, praising, blaming, inquiring. And here are the girls who sort your letters so that Sir John Reith isn't bothered with an audition request from a coloratura in Bristol.
Mr. Reith. Was he Lord Reith?
I don't think he was Lord in those days. I think it was just Mr.
Reith or Sir John. Anyhow, John Reith, put it that way. Used to be on the 3rd floor, and us boys used to go out there, but ever we saw him, we always got scared. But round about 9:05 of a morning, there was always one liftman standing there waiting. Nobody could get in the lift. They're waiting for his car to pull up outside. A commissioner or somebody would give the one inside the nod. He would give the liftman the nod, and straight up to the floor. Then after that, you could use them.
Well, now, with respect to this building, as Admiral Carpenter has indicated to you, there may be some things, there may be many things about it, with respect to which you are disappointed, and with respect to which you may be suffering some inconvenience. Would you be good enough to bring to the inconveniences a good heart?
Reith's words sounded an ominous note, and it wasn't long before the plaudits of the architectural press gave way to a chorus of complaint from programme makers and technicians. This report is dated the 1st of January 1934. That means it's written a year or so after the opening of this building. And it's fairly savage. It's trying to draw lessons from the experience of commissioning, building and moving into Broadcasting House. And it reveals that almost the minute this building was open, it was being found unsatisfactory in very many diverse ways. For example, the studios may have been insulated from the outside world, but that didn't stop noise leaking from one to the next. It was reported that 8B interfered with 8A and that 3A was plagued by sound from the talk studio. Not enough lighting to read scores by. Doors not wide enough for pianos. So fast was the technology changing that almost every studio required immediate alteration. So the hammers and drills returned, and from my experience, they've never really left.
Though you are near or far, that makes no difference to me.
What's the number?
Today's studios mark the victory of function over design.
Must have it in here.
They may work, but they also remind me of the corporate hospitality suite, or even the hospital outpatients clinic.
No, I will not. I've no intention.
All bar the concert hall.
Rubbish.
But sadly, this elegant concert hall was something of a practical disaster too. It's now known more modestly as the Radio Theatre, and I suspect it's going to be a long time before anyone tries to squeeze an orchestra in here again. April the 30th, 1929, it says, there was a meeting of the building committee in which the architect stated that the super studio, which is the concert hall, would accommodate an orchestra of 100 persons, and that he would design the stage in such a manner that when the orchestra with chorus was in excess of that number, the stage could be extended to accommodate even more. Effectively what happened was that they started working with this building, and they found to get the best results from an acoustical point of view, the orchestra had to be limited to 30 or 35 players. Now, where does this mistake come from? He says that really, it's the artists, it's these airy-fairy people who wander around making decisions about what they'd like. And he says if there had ever been such an organisation as the Technical Decorations Subcommittee, and if they'd looked at these plans, they would have sorted it out.
We present the news quiz with your chairman, Simon Holt. And before we start round one, here's a cutting that was sent in by Brian Copping from Worthing, read by Brian Perkins. Elderly gent, own home and car, non-smoker, seeks younger lady who can drive for mutual help, outings, etc. No dogs.
Not surprisingly, the two interiors that do survive uncompromised and in all their glory, the council chamber and the entrance hall, do so because they have nothing to do with the business of recording.
I quite like walking around this building, trying to find out quite how to get from A to B. It's really like a labyrinth. This is staircase 6, whatever that means. Floor 7, that's the floor we're on. I know there are 8 floors in this building, but the staircase doesn't go there. There's a lift through there that doesn't go there either. There's something curious about this. I'm always poking around trying to find the way through. Here we come into a place where the atmosphere changes completely. I mean, I think this is wonderful. All this light. So it's a bit of a monkey run up on the higher levels, isn't it?
The higher levels are less satisfactory than the lower ones.
Why can't you go all the way up?
You can't go all the way up because there's a mansard roof which starts around about the 6th floor.
Turn round, sorry, very tight there. And then up, into this place which could be by Rennie Mackintosh. Look at this staircase.
The mansard roof was caused by a rights to light problem. The neighbours objected to the size of the building and demanded that a bit be cut off.
And it is a ridiculous building. To get from A to B is usually impossible. You have to go from A to C and then D and E and F and then you get back to B eventually because you can't just go from A to B.
So many dead ends and they're all different shapes, but here we've got another lift. It's on its own, this one. I know I'm not authorised. You see, proof of smoking.
You got lost inside. It took us about 3 or 4 months to find our way around.
Especially went around the back way somewhere or other, down the basement there.
You go down to find a studio in the basement, and I swear that you see the odd little pile of bleached bones there of people who actually never quite managed to find their way out again. They're the bones of people who got lost in the basement.
Maybe that's where the cooling towers come out. The unspoken episode of Legionnaire's disease, which I think happened here in the early 80s and was sorted out very proficiently. Okay, through here.
A drum, Macbeth doth come. The weird sisters, hand in hand.
If there's one place in the fabric of this dedicated temple of the arts and muses where artistry really does triumph, it's in the work of Eric Gill, the sculptor.
What's that figure over there? That's the symbolic figure of the sower. As you see, he is scattering seed, as a man might broadcast ideas that will take root and grow, and some of it increase and multiply, and some... Who's the sculptor? Eric Gill. He also cut figures of Prospero and Ariel outside.
If you just turn around and face the building, there indeed is the Gill sculpture of Prospero and Ariel.
Gill received the commission in 1929 and didn't make the sculptures till 1931-32. And by 1929, Gill was a very, very well-known figure in British public life. He'd got sort of tabloid interest. They called him the married monk.
Gill was famous for holding unconventional views on all sorts of subjects, from godliness to sexuality. Anti-modern in many ways, he favoured medieval dress, refused to have a wireless, and took an independent view of his commission for Broadcasting House.
It was in 1931, and I was playing at the Old Vic in the Tempest, and Eric came to see it, and he came round to see me, and he said he was going to do a statue for the BBC for the new building, and would I come and pose as Ariel for him? So I thought this was rather interesting. So I said, yes, rather, of course I will. And of course I had to strip. I could strip in those days, I wouldn't bother now, but it was really freezing. And darling Mary Gill, his wife, used to come in with cups of hot bovril, and that kept me going.
The old man looks rather more like an Old Testament prophet to me. Prospero looks very biblical.
Well, Gill let it be known in his letters and diaries that although the BBC governors asked for Prospero and Ariel, Gill, being the Catholic religious married monk that he was, has turned it into God the Father and God the Son. But Ariel's upraised hands have got stigmata in them. So it's the child Jesus considering his crucifixion, and God the Father is presenting him to the world. So that's Gill's view. That's why they're standing on the world. Gill carved it in situ on scaffolding in the winter of 1932, and it was very, very cold. It snowed, and he hadn't got his trousers on, so he had quite a hard winter doing it. And also it's known, it's oral history, that under the scaffolding people went up and looked, and they thought that Ariel's genitalia was a little bit too large.
When they sculpted the Ariel, finished it, the governors apparently objected.
Clive, I'm sorry, you had a question you wanted to ask.
He had a curtain round there, and the governors, shortly before this was due to be unveiled, thought they'd better have a look.
They did not want to unveil something that would offend the public.
So they sent one man who had been the headmaster of Winchester School.
He was invited to climb up there with Eric Gill.
And he clambers up the ladder
with a notebook.
Turns round
and came down and said,
"In my view, this young man is uncommonly well hung."
Well hung.
Well hung.
Yes, they objected to the size of the penis.
And insisted that certain bits had to be chipped off.
And Gill had to come back and knock out a couple of inches off it.
He had to be reduced by 1.5 inches.
Aerials or Prospero?
Aerials.
Oh,
yes.
So they were.
Yes, it's true.
It is true, isn't it? Who said that?
Yeah, absolutely. Enid said it's true, just to prove that she's listening to you.
Isn't that right? They're not 2 inches off it.
1.5 inches.
Yes.
All right, then. So, narration coming up, followed by a cue light.
It's PM at 5 p.m. Good evening from Chris Lowe and Charlie Lee Potter.
Restructuring has always been in the air of this building. Gill had to downsize Ariel. The studios were being recarved from the moment they opened. Nowadays, the speculation even leaks out onto the airwaves.
Andy, everything to play for here, I think. How did revolting news types become newsworthy types?
This is because there is a restructuring in progress at the BBC, because, let's face it, they do need one. They haven't had one for at least, must be 3 hours now.
Hiya, BBC Radio 197 to 99 FM. This is Andy Kershaw till 10:30, and a live session tonight of Brazilian music by London-based Brazilian singer Monica Vasconcelos.
The BBC has just taken steps to restore Broadcasting House as a listed building. But what's it to be used for? People inside spend a lot of time thinking the unthinkable.
In all sorts of ways, it doesn't work as a modern building, but it is Broadcasting House, and everybody knows it's Broadcasting House, and they've been broadcasting from here forever. And the idea that ultimately there will be no more broadcasting and it'll be Bureaucracy House instead is very sad.
I don't think that can really happen.
Well, we'll see. I hope not.
This is head office, of course. Not only is it the home of the radio networks, but it's the BBC head office. And I think we'll have head office here for a long time to come.
So you think this will be the sort of corporate hospitality, the gentlemen in suits, the command centre?
I think it will be the command centre. I think it will be the commissioning centre. And I think it will still generate a lot of radio programmes for a long time to come.
É pau, é pedra, é o fim do caminho, é resto de toco, é pouco sozinho.
Radio 3, it's 11:15 and time for this evening's Night Waves.
At the end of the day, and in a by now almost silent building, it's time to generate my own radio programme.
Seem to have made rather less of a lecturer. The daughter who brings about the murder
is
of her
holding on
mother
to high principles in the way that we often quote the Bible.
The sort of chattering North London classes who would go to anything experimental.
I still shudder when I recall how English was taught.
Now give me a description of the enemies that concern you, because your book is blisteringly... sabre thrusts everywhere. And I get this battle, because this is a familiar... Night Waves will be back next week. We'll have an interview with Norman Mailer on Tuesday and one with Kurt Vonnegut on Thursday. On Wednesday,
We face a dilemma when we conserve an old building like this. We may set out to save it in the name of history, but the very fact that we do so signifies a much larger break with the past. The BBC as good as owned the airwaves when it moved into Broadcasting House 60 years ago, but the world has changed. The really important question today isn't just about the use of this building, it's about the public service values to which Broadcasting House is dedicated. I wonder, 60 years from now, will they seem like antiquated pieties that have long since retreated into Eric Gill's otherworldly sculptures? Better that they too be restructured and renewed.